how would you say through your vast experience with the one cleanse, you've helped yourself come back into yourself?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So, yeah, I've done 37 ones, intestinal cleanses, probably like 9 liver cleanses, and used the liquid enzyme supplements or maintenance, pretty much the whole time for the almost 2 years. Just rotating between the different ones as my intuition calls for, but mostly detox S. And yeah, I've tried many diets and many fasts, uh, 90-day juice fast and 21-day water fast and 55 days coconut water fast. And that was the times I really felt vibrant, more myself, like spiritually, emotionally. Um, yeah, like my vibrance, what I feel myself to be in this like embodiment, like was starting to shine through, but it had to be when I wasn't eating. If I started to eat again, that vibrance started to diminish. And yeah, it became a kind of like interesting relationship with food because of that, because I could see cause and effect that the food, no matter how nutritious, how good, even raw food, for, whatever you want to say is the most nutritious, TCM, Ayurveda, um, it was not doing in my system. It was just a question of like, what's the least damage? What goes through the quickest? What I feel something from versus like, no. And so I was working on my digestive system mostly through fasting, colonics, um, and enemas. And yeah, I just knew that there was something still not functioning correctly in my system, to say the least. And so 2 years ago, ZenCleanz, it was a funny story. I was um, here in Bali, we're always riding scooters, and my friend was riding his mountain bike, and we see each other on the same road all the time. But my intuition said, you have to go back, and we passed each other again, give him a hug. So we like to hug here also. So I turned around, and I went back and gave him a hug, and he was like, "Have you heard about ZenCleanz?" And that's we found each other. And he said, "Yeah, wild stuff comes out. It's wild." And I was like, "I'm so in. I need the contact right now." So thus began the journey. And the first cleanse, yeah, 2 thick amber rubber strips uh, came out, and it was like this wide and this thick. So I was shocked, and I understood like that's the hardened mucus that it's protecting the deeper layers of the intestines. And I kind of like it made sense. Like that's what I understood the body does anyway. Like it walls off all the old stuff with a layer of mucus, so it still infects your system, obviously, but not as much because the body has that intelligence. So the first thing that happened was these amber rubber strips came out, like literally, and I was just like, I knew it. I knew it. So it also, I mean, it's an eye opener, but also confirms an inner knowing, right? So like I knew that that's what the body does. I mean, I've read lots of stuff. There's lots of conflicting stuff, but that was my understanding of it, or my understanding, and it was confirmed. So it already is like the intuitive upgrade with the ZenCleanz, you see, getting to like, something's wrong, but you're not going to do like stick a scope down there or something like that, or you're not going to get like, even MRI won't show anything. Like how are you going to know what's in there? But something's off, and you don't have, it's pretty bad, and like it's restricting your movement maybe or whatever. But the extent you have no idea, none. And like this started to confirm exactly what I felt. And then it was like off to the races, and I was doing them every 2 weeks, basically, like almost every 2 weeks. Yeah, for the last 2 years. Yeah, I'd say that's accurate. So I know like in the ZenCleanz doesn't recommend doing it like once a month or once every 2 months. I don't know. I read it, but I was drawn to do it, so I did it. And every time was amazing results. And sometimes one time I did 3 back to back in like 9 days. Those are the most spectacular results. And I do super well on the enzymes. Like when I'm on the enzymes, I feel it all over my body. I feel the vitality. I feel it in my hair and my eyes, and like it's the enzyme magic working through the whole body. So I don't mind being on the cleanses. Like it's not a chore for me. It's actually like there's an eagerness about it, but also an eagerness because like the body wants to heal, the consciousness wants to go further. And so it's like not like, oh no, yeah, I've done enough, or that should be good. No, it's like I want to get to the end of that rope, pun intended. So it's like I want to see where that rope goes. Terrible pun number two. So, like I'm gonna keep pulling on it until I get to the end. Like obsession, right? So if you want to look at, it's pejorative, obviously, but everyone's obsessed about something. People are obsessed about pop music. People are obsessed about celebrities. People are obsessed about foodies, and people are obsessed about God knows what, some show on Netflix, obsessed, literally. So obsession about health is the best, like obsession about health or the divine. I'd say, like, if you're going to have an obsession, those are two pretty good ones. Like wanting to connect with your divine self or source, whatever you want, God, whatever you want to call it, and like as much health as you can be in this body in this lifetime. Those are pretty good obsessions. I don't mind being obsessed. Yeah, well, I mean, the amber strips were the first one, but pretty much every cleanse was like that. I did a liver cleanse. Actually, that's not true. I did the 3 back-to-back intestinal cleanses, and then sometime later, a week, coral, like white coral, started exiting the body, and I knew those are stones, but not the green stones. They're like white coral stones. Looks like calcium almost, like calcium coral, and like truckloads of the stuff. But I hadn't done a liver cleanse. It was just the one working its magic through the whole system, actually, after high dosing it for 9 days with drinking Detox S on the non-cleanse days, and just adding coconut water. And then about 5 days later, I had a liver release. I could tell from the bile and all that. And just confirmed by Daniel the other day that like loads of flukes, they're the rolled up tomato skin looking flukes. So some of the flukes you see are more look like little, like they have a little shape and everything. But the rolled up tomato skins are also flukes, and like a truckload. And the liver just exited them without the liver cleanse. So that also showed me like, wow, this is working at such deep levels. It's okay that I was drawn to the one, and then it's still working on the liver. And it like, I mean, there's probably like a handful of calcium stones and like this much flukes, and like, oh, wow. So that was, the aha moments, like keep going. I during the 3-day, that 3-time cleanse, I also released a lot of like fat. So that fat, it was like 100% fat. It wasn't like old feces mixed in with fat. It was 100% fat. So then I could see like the liver, the bile, the digestive system. My intuition is like on the right side. So that fat is like not being dissolved by the bile. So it's like coagulated onto the right side near the liver. That's what it felt like. So once the fat exited the body, then I felt the bile ducts are open, and now the calcium stones and the flukes and everything started to come out, because now there's not this like huge wad of fat blocking the liver. That's what it felt like, and that's what it showed. So like the aha moments, like almost every time I do a cleanse, I should have kept a journal or something, but it's really like that. And like getting to know your own body, we shared about this before, like the ZenCleanz, is the tool, the only tool I've come in contact with where I'm actually seeing at a deep level what's going on in my body when it releases. And, you have a lot of internal feelings, but now you see the visual material way or result. And so it heightens your inner understanding of your own system and the human body in general. And so you really, like you said before, you really get to know yourself. You get to know your body. You get to know the human body. And what always motivates me is like, we have no idea, We're deep in Kali Yuga, right? We have no idea what the capacity for this standard issue human body is. Like 2 arms, 2 legs, but we also know, like, there are stories, if you read all sorts of books or Taoist legends, Daniel could tell us many, I'm sure, of people who live 200 years, of people who burst into light or rainbow body or things like that. There are too many stories like that. There's smoke, there's fire. So that's what the capacity is, you know? And so the human body, like from our like daily perspective, we have no idea what its capacity is. And I want to know. I want to know. I want to find out what this body, what this experience on this planet, in this environment, what the highest potential is, and what's going to bring me there, and the ZenCleanz is really like godsend, godsend. Well,
How are
exactly.
people?
But that's actually a good sign. I've wondered that too. So imagine the level of toxicity that you had in your body and you were still functioning. And then you even look at like obese people or people who have like real, health issues, and they're alive. Like, you were feeling sick at age 24 or 23, a person who's really challenged with obesity, and they're still moving around and and doing things and able to eat, and like, how is it possible? So that just shows you the resiliency, like, of the human body, that even at such a, like, there's that story about Joe the juice guy, right? He how many days juice fasted, and he became slim from obese, truck driver. And so, like, yeah, it just completely changed, like, but that even he was alive when he was 350 pounds, you know what I'm saying? How is it possible? So we can do a lot of damage to this body, and it just keeps going and keeps ticking, and it still those searches for ways to like keep us in this embodiment, in this reality, in this birth. It's incredible. So that's the one side of the coin. Everyone's so toxic, yet we're still okay, basically. But on the other side, like, no one knows what the potential is. Even the athletes, you look at an athlete, sprinter, some you'd consider decathlon, any of the average like Olympic diet or diet for these athletes is filled with carbs and like pasta and like carbing up and all this stuff. Like, very few, I would say, conscious, diet. Other, maybe they moved to keto now and not so much pasta. But I remember Sabrina Williams went to like a raw food diet, and it was a big controversy. So there are very few like super conscious eating athletes. So even the athletes who their whole thing is about what can their body do, and they have a gift, even they are being poisoned by the dominant like pasta, protein, whatever narrative, which is slowly hurting their bodies. So when you see older athletes, they tend to be, I mean, I'm generalizing, but from my experience, they tend to be quite large. They've gained a lot of weight since their athlete days because they were eating like horses when they were athletes. And they've retained that like pattern when they're not exercising as much, and also they're not as young. And all they were so strong and so vital, they could eat that pasta, that thing, and it worked for what they wanted to do, obviously. But they poisoned themselves as well. So even they don't know what their bodies can do, and they maybe never did. Their gift might have been even more amazing had they been supported with cleansing and detox and diet in what we know now. What if Michael Jordan had like access to access to someone
All
else
the crazy things.
guided by the dominant narrative to use Accutane, to antibiotics, to like, so your choice, like finding Zen, it always surprises me, kind of like the way you look at society. I was sharing with Daniel the other day. I don't know what the percentage is, but there's probably like 85% who have the predisposition to believe the dominant narrative. Like, and society needs that. You need like people who are going to do like follow the dominant narrative for the society to be productive. So I think the human conditioning is not everyone's a free thinker or experimenter or alchemist or willing to think outside the box or live outside the box. And good, because society doesn't need 100% of those people. They need the people who are, following the dominant narrative, 85%. But maybe there's another 15% or 10% that is like free thinking, or or even like against, like the energy of against, and which is not free thinking. But so some level of society, let's say 10% is against, like whatever the dominant is, I'm against that. And another 5% is like same. I just evaluate for myself, given my own perspective. So you can see like ZenCleanz is really for either more against or free thinking mindset. In fact, all the alternative health, raw food, fruitarianism, even supplements, everything. It's a really smaller subset of the population that's even interested in like natural healing, or even would consider getting a colonic. Like most people, you mention a colonic and they're like, oh, and it's like, what? I mentioned enema. They have never considered doing one. They don't know what that is. They feel like, no, I haven't done it yet. You see them a couple months later. Did you ever start with coffee enemas? No, I haven't. So like that's whatever conditioning, whatever, that's most people. So, but it's interesting about, you said like the introduction of ZenCleanz. So in economics, there's the J curve. So the J curve is there's an introduction of a new technology, let's say iPhone. And then it takes us some time for that iPhone to be used by the purchasers, and for the manufacturer to have a relationship with those purchasers, so that the kinks are worked out, and some of the end users say, wow, you can do this, and there's this, and like new apps. And then suddenly it goes from like, oh, it's a kind of like cool product, I've never seen something like that before, to I need one, I want one, everyone has one. And that's that J curve. It's not like this, it's not like that, it's like this. It's like a hockey stick. So not even a hockey stick, a J curve. So that's a well-known feature in economics. So that's why I feel about the ZenCleanz and natural health, like everything that's happened over the last couple of years with the dominant narrative, and now ZenCleanz introduction. It's like people are just figuring out now, like, and you can see in the ZenCleanz chat groups, like everyone's experimenting. Daniel really encourages that, which is great, and getting back to each other, recipes. I tried this, these kind of, have you tried this? Have you tried that? And so that's really the beauty of the collective, all working and figuring out and experimenting different ways to use this new technology in the service of humanity, really, in the service of greater health. Like all our individual insights, what we're sharing now, and everything on the chats and so forth, and then goes back to Daniel, and he thinks about how to do other products, or people get inspired to do their own something about that. It's incredible. So that's what I feel building now. Like we're in this like building phase, and then people will get more wise to it. Like
Totally.
before, it's like your living example, your shiny skin, your shiny intellect, speak for themselves. So it's exactly like that. Like at the human level, you always want to know what someone's doing. Like, you look great. What have you been doing? Like, are you in love, or some new makeup product? Like someone asked me the other day. They're like, it was really funny. I was at a party and they were like, using some kind of new product. And I was like, what do you mean? And it's like, well, your skin and everything. And I was like, no, it's not a new product. I mean, it is the Zen, but they won't even be able to hear me if I tell them it's ZenCleanz. I did, but it's like, no, you're using a product. Yeah, you're using something like you gotta like a chemical peel or something. So that's the other thing, you have your shiny example, your enzyme powered example, and people not everyone will see, and even those who will see may not understand or comprehend or believe. So it's really incredible to walk around as you're transforming with the ZenCleanz and seeing the transformation in yourself every day. You know better than anyone, maybe the people closest to you, your partners or whatever. But then like when you're out in the community and seeing your kind of acquaintances and whatever, like who picks up on it? Who says like, man, what's been going on with you? Not very many people, actually. So people don't have, because I think they're so toxic, they don't have the capacity to see or feel. So that's the other thing. It's like you can put things right in front of someone. You can lay it all out. I remember talking to one friend. I was so excited about ZenCleanz, I couldn't wait to tell him. After 5 minutes, he was like, I don't want to hear anymore. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't care. I said, what do you mean you don't care? He said, I don't want to hear anymore. I said, okay, I don't want to hear anymore. So I was shocked by that exchange. I mean, now I also realize, that I can be a little, I should feel more into my spaces, and not everyone can handle that enthusiasm. And obviously he didn't want to hear it, and I didn't pick up on that. So I respect. But also to see like I would like someone to have done that to me, and I would like someone to do that to me all the time. Like, wow, this is what I'm doing. You'll love this. Check this out. And I think that's the the wanting to share is great. It's a really human thing, but also to be, yeah, who to you just put it out there. You're the living example. Whoever can see will see. Whoever can ask will ask. Whoever can do can do. But it always surprises me because my feeling is always out there. I always want to know. I always want to know. Like even in the days when I was partying, like someone was onto something new, some new club, some new substance, some new something. I was like, well, what is that? I want to try. Like let's go there. Burning Man, let's go. Like there's this new club in Barcelona. Okay, great, I want to go. And I just want to see for myself. I want to explore, but most people don't have that curiosity, and yeah, and the toxicity. So when you think about the toxicity, so imagine all our world leaders, all they're operating in a fog of toxicity. You think like the president of the United States is eating great meals, like I see him at Dairy Queen a lot. I don't know. So, you think like Elon Musk or like these people are eating like the best, they're used ZenCleanz. I don't think so either. So it's like, even the people at the top echelon of apparently of society, like the billionaires and the politicians and the whatever, they're in a fog of toxicity. And then it makes sense. Like you start to see people's imbalances when you watch like YouTube or the news or whatever. You can clearly see like these people are not thinking clearly. They're in fear. They're confused. They look terrible and highly congested, and like they're not in touch with the life force energy. They're just kind of in a fog of toxicity and control and fear. And then yeah, you got the world we're in now. Yeah, expanding consciousness. If you're unconscious of what's going on in your intestines, what are we talking about? You're telling me about the Pleiades or Sirius B or other dimensional whatever, and you're not even aware of what's going on in your own liver and your own intestines, and you're unwilling to find out. So to me, it's like I'm not saying that people aren't having those experiences. What I'm saying is, the place where your consciousness raising can have the most bang for the buck or the most cause and effect, let's say, is in your own body. I can't control the clouds, but I seem to be able to control whether I can touch my finger to my nose. So I can have a great effect right here in this body. And so before we start talking about, all sorts of other stuff, and that's why when I see spiritual teachers who are very toxic or very missing a lot of life force, it's like I can't connect with their message. Maybe there's some nuggets in there, but just looking at them, I can just see that they're in a fog of toxicity, and they're the voice or what the sharing is doesn't connect to what I'm seeing on my screen or what I can see in person. There's a deep decay and death transpiring of toxicity, and they're not seemingly doing anything about that, or even worse, they are trying to transcend it. So they're trying to bypass the whole thing. So, like, yeah, I'm connected to whatever, but you're not connected to your intestines. And I can see why people will do that, because to go through the whole journey of cleaning yourself, which you know full well, is a big undertaking, and not everyone is game for that. So maybe some people want to say, okay, yeah, I don't need to do that. I'll just go into a no mind state or connect with my guides, and then it's fine. And or even, maybe you've heard in spirituality, I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. So in certain traditions, like Advaita Vedanta, they say, I'm not the mind, I'm not the body, I'm not the thoughts, I'm not the emotions. I am Brahman, I am the one universal consciousness. But, in other traditions, it's I am the world and I am Brahman, I am both. Like in Divine Mother traditions, they'll say, I am the body, I am the thoughts, I am the emotions, I am you, I am everything here. all this is me, all this I am, and I am also the like super consciousness. So when you have that kind of interest, then you got to take the body along with you. When the body and God are the same, not something to be transcended, but also divine. So you said you're like, I forgot what word you used about going back to your like original blueprint. I say your divine blueprint. You have a divine blueprint, like maybe even an etheric form, but it's so densified into this experience and all your karma. So like ZenCleanz is an instant karma removal. Think about it. All your food karma, all your drug karma, all your alcohol karma, not all of it, but so much of it is being removed. When have you ever seen something that could be like remove karma like that? If I found a guru like that, I'd be like there every day, please remove all my karma. So it's really like a karmic do-over for these organs. It's shocking. So that's what I really like. Yeah, like spirituality starts in your own body. And I'd say a large majority of the people I see or come on contact with, like you said, they might think or believe that they're in touch with their bodies. But once you've gone on your own journey, you clearly see that they're not. And also, it's a big shock to them if you tell them that. So it's like expanding consciousness to connect with spirit is amazing, but it needs to be heaven on earth. So I had the insight the other day. Heaven is like no mind. That's like the heaven Shiva state. And earth is like, or the world state is free in the body. So no mind, like none of that going on, just the clear space of awareness, they say in Buddhism, and a clear body as well. Then everything would be heaven on earth, right? There's no pain, you have total clarity, you're connected to source. Of course, that's heaven on earth. I don't know what dimension you want to call that, but heaven on earth is not like external, that I need to create heaven on earth by putting like some geodome and crystals everywhere. No, you just have to go through your process of like depatterning your mind and also cleaning your body. Then you have heaven on earth in you. Wow.